on, everybody? Jake Peffer here. Welcome back to the channel. I am back with another movie review for you. I had the opportunity to see a advanced screening of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire last night, so I'm going to give you my 2 cents, let you know if you should check it out or not. So, with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, this is the fourth movie in this linear franchise. There's obviously five movies, but the other movie doesn't fall into this timeline with Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, and Ghostbusters Afterlife. So this is a continuation from Afterlife, and we're following the same group of characters. We got the Spengler clan along with Mr. Gruberson, played by Paul Rudd. They are all officially Ghostbusters now. They're all living in New York in the firehouse. They've taken over the family business, and yeah, they're kind of living life, doing their own thing. But of course, there's a new terror that is about to take over the city of New York, and they have to band together with some familiar faces, including the OG Ghostbusters and a few other people as well, to try to take down this new threat. It's a pretty familiar story, especially in the Ghostbusters franchise. There's nothing really new here, but all in all, I would say for the most part, I enjoyed this movie more than I didn't. There's definitely some really good things I liked about it. For one, the cast is absolutely fantastic from top to bottom. Everybody here is doing a great job. They all have really good chemistry with one another. And I just like the dynamic that they've set up, especially from the previous movie, the family dynamic with McKenna Grace, Carrie Coon, and Finn Wolfhard is fantastic once again. Adding Paul Rudd even more into that dynamic this time around, him being kind of like the stepdad of the family. I think adds a little bit more to it as well. Where in the previous movie, he was more just kind of like a teacher that happened to be dating the mom. And then you add in, the OG Ghostbusters as well as Annie Potts. She makes a return. So everybody here is working really well together. The movie is consistently funny as well. Like this might be one of the funniest movies in the series. It's hard to top that original one, but I was laughing pretty genuinely throughout most of this movie. So there is some good comedy here, and everybody's comedic timing and everything is working wonders. So there are, like I said, there are some good aspects to this movie, but sadly, there are some big problems that I had with the movie overall, and it boils down to a few things. One major problem I have with it is it takes quite a while before anything really happens. We're doing a lot of setup, we're doing a lot of exposition, we're doing a lot of build up. And I kept looking at my watch and I'm like, hey, we're well over an hour into this movie, and we haven't even been introduced to the villain yet. Like they've kind of set him up, they've told his backstory and stuff, but we have yet to actually officially meet this being. And that was a little weird to me. It just really felt like they were just kind of slogging along, and then eventually, oh, hey, there's the villain. Yeah, now we'll start ghost busting and whatnot. And that's the other thing is like, there's not a whole lot of ghost busting in this movie. It's really more in the third act that everything kind of builds up to. And it just, it really feels odd that it takes so long for this movie to be under 2 hours and it to take over an hour for it to get into, the crux of the movie and get everything rolling. That seems a little weird to me. Another big issue I had is there are just way too many characters this time around. I mean, I love seeing everybody. I love the cast from the previous movie. I love seeing the OG Ghostbusters. I even like, the kids' friends. They come back from the previous movie as well, and they do a good job too. But it's like we got, 10, 12 characters here, and then we're going to add 3 to 4 more characters. And it's just like, guys, this is too many people on screen. Like you've got too many things going on at one time, too many eggs and too many different baskets. And then that sets up another problem I have with it is there's so many subplots. And I feel like there's two big ones with two specific characters that are literal just plot devices. They're only here to push the story along. Otherwise, they serve no purpose whatsoever. And that's fine. Like you can have certain things like that in a movie, but at the end of the day, their characters just feel useless. And I don't know that they just didn't really do a whole lot for me. One is Kumail Nanjiani. He ended up being a bigger character in this movie than I expected. He's actually very funny in the movie. I don't mind him being here, just his character doesn't really feel necessary when all comes to an end. It just kind of is like, yeah, he's here for this thing, but I feel like it doesn't really matter that much. Maybe that's just me. And then McKenna Grace's character, she befriends a ghost in the movie, and there's a lot of scenes with her and this ghost, and it just doesn't really feel all that necessary. So maybe it's just me. I just, there those certain aspects of the movie didn't sit right with me. It left me kind of wanting to explore more with some of the other cast. But again, you have so many characters in this movie. They're kind of juggling so many different little storylines between, this person, that person, this person, that person. At the end of the day, I was just like, can we get to the ghost busting? Like this, like I'm here for a Ghostbusters movie. And while I am enjoying it for the most part, because it is funny and I'm liking the character stuff, a big part of the reason I came for this movie is to see some ghosts and some action, and we're really not getting it. Even in the last movie, in Afterlife, it took a little while to really kind of get going, but there was an intrigue there because you had these new characters and they were kind of discovering, who their family was and the fact that, their grandfather was a Ghostbuster and they're learning all this stuff. So there was a little bit more to be interested in there. Where here it's like, hey, let's get to it. Like you are already Ghostbusters. Like let's jump into this thing. But I digress, it's a little bit nitpicky for me, but it was just a couple things that I didn't like. And overall, too, there's a character decision in this movie that sets up kind of the whole climax of the movie that I feel is like some bullshit because this character I feel like would never make this decision, and the only reason they make it is just to progress the story along. And that's the kind of stuff I hate in movies sometimes is like I know you have to get from point A to point B, but at the end of the day, you can't just completely turn a character into somebody else and make them make a decision that they typically would never make. That kind of stuff rubs me the wrong way. So again, maybe it's a little nitpicky, but I had a problem with it. Now, outside of those problems, like I said, the movie is still enjoyable. The effects here, I think, look pretty solid. There's a few questionable moments here and there with some ghosts, but on the whole, I think they all look really nice. I'm not sure what the production budget on this one was, but if it's anything like the last movie, it was relatively lower than what you'd expect from a big budget movie like this. And like I said, I think the effects for the most part hold up. The movie is relatively paced pretty well, but again, because you have so many characters and they're trying to juggle them all and have so many different plot lines, it feels a little muddled at times, but it being under 2 hours definitely helps. So it's definitely a pretty easy watch. You're not, checking your watch constantly, like, when the hell am I going to get out of here kind of thing. The only reason I was checking my watch is just I was ready to get to the action. And, it does take a bit longer to get there than you would expect. But all in all, I still had a fun time with it. I like these characters. I like this cast. Like I said, everybody here is doing a good job. Extra points for finally giving Ernie Hudson his due. This is the first movie in the franchise where he actually really gets to do something, and they kind of put him a little bit more in the forefront. Him and Dan Aykroyd have definitely more to do from the OG cast. Bill Murray is only briefly in the movie, but every time he shows up, it's pretty hilarious. And Annie Potts is great as well. It's nice to see her kind of officially step into the role as a Ghostbuster. No spoilers because that is in the trailers. But all in all, it's just a fun time. It's a good early movie in the year. You're not quite in the summer yet. This actually may have been better to release during the summer, but kind of releasing it now, you get a good jump on things. You get a nice, big budget action movie that's got some laughs. It's got some good action. It's just got a few issues that I had problems with, but for the average moviegoer, you're probably going to enjoy it, and you're not going to nitpick it as much as me. But because of that, I would rate it a 6 out of 10. It's still enjoyable. It's still funny. And there's a lot to like here, but there's a lot to kind of, if you think about it too hard or if you point your finger at it, you're going to have some issues with it, possibly like I did. But in the end, I would still recommend checking it out when it comes out this weekend. That's about it for me, guys. If you have had the opportunity to see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire already, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. And then when you see it this weekend, once it finally releases, let me know what you thought about it as well. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more reviews, rankings, and all kinds of good stuff coming out soon. I'll leave all my links down below on where you can follow me and check out more of my reviews. Until next time, I'll catch you all later.